Hello and welcome to Healthy Minds on Benue Television. Healthy Mind is a weekly program that intimates you on all you need to know about your mental health. On today's package, we're going to be talking about the influence of puberty on the mental health of adolescents and youths. And with me in the studio is a psychologist, mental health activist by name Mrs. Seve Stephen Chikan. You're welcome to the studio. And before we continue, we'll go on a short break. And when we return, we'll be doing justice to the topic of discussion. I remain Emmanuel Ikwe. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Healthy Minds on Benue Television, your weekly program that intimates you on all you need to know about your mental health. And with me to do justice through the topic of discussion today is Mrs. Seve Stephen Chikan. Without waste of time, we'll go straight into the job of the day. So I would like to get from you, what is your take or view on what mental health is?
Thank you very much. Mental health in layman terms will be an individual's ability to cope or handle life's challenges while also tackling or being of positive influence to their society. That is an individual's emotional, psychological, and social well-being and their outputs, positive outputs to their society.
All right, I think from what you've just said, I got that for an individual to be mentally healthy, that has to do with their productivity,
Yes.
and then also for them to be able to handle life challenges. Okay, now, what about the concept of puberty as it relates to mental health? Can we get to know what puberty is?
Yes, puberty is a time in an individual's life, like it's a transition from childhood to adulthood. So this means that being a child is developing organs and systems in their body that is introducing them to childhood. So the maturing of their sexual organs, their bodies, and then later on their minds. That's the concept of puberty.
Okay, now so puberty prepares an individual's mind also. I think that is where mental health chip in, am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so now can you actually elaborate on the relationship between the puberty and the mental health of an individual?
Yes, they go hand in hand very much because puberty deals with hormones, and hormones translate to our everyday life outputs, and that is what mental health is. Mental health is our output in the society, how we show up in the society. And when in terms of puberty, there are hormones that are in play, that affect our moods, our behaviors, everything about our chemical composition and how we show up. So they go hand in hand.
How then does this period affect an individual's behavior or an individual's mental state? Because you're talking about hormones, it is actually difficult for a layman like me to actually understand, because hormones are picturing chemicals, and then okay, how does this actually come out to what an individual becomes in attitude and behavior wise?
Okay. So a child being a child is mostly reliant on their parents and siblings if they have any. That's their primary form of interaction. Now, when it comes to puberty, we move from there into they more or less they are coming into their own as human beings, not reliant on their parents anymore. This means that they are picking up attitudes and behaviors that relates to them, and they are moving from mirroring their parents or relying on information given by their parents. They are accepting some, but also picking up their own. So in terms of puberty, people like their interactions move from their parents to peers. They are not reliant on
What they get from their parents.
yes,
Okay.
from what they've accepted from what whoever their peers or their parents, they are forming their own person.
Okay.
Yes, based off of the information in their environment and their peers and parents.
Yeah, you're talking about moving from that dependent state to becoming
Codependent to
dependent, their own choice. Okay, their own perceptions. Okay, so now I would want to know now that this puberty level. Now, what actually influences this movement of wanting to actually become their own person? Because I think now that I'm an adult, sometimes I feel it's even better that I was a child where my parents would just provide everything for me. So now, what actually causes a discomfort in being a child into becoming an adult beyond the change of body structures?
And like now you are saying that when you're a child, uh, now that you're an adult, you are thinking back where you prefer childhood. But when you're a child, you wanted to be an adult because of the independence that you saw. Like it could be in small things. You could see that parents or adults could make decisions based off of what they wanted, and they will execute it. That is very appealing to a child that has grown up on dependence.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll go to where adults will go to where and when they want to go.
When nobody's telling them when to come back, nobody's telling them what to do. Probably they don't even have to be in school. Yeah, no rules, no instructions. So that seems like freedom to a child that has a routine and is being told what to do. That is very appealing.
Okay. Okay. Now, I would want to ask: are there some influence? Are there some negative or positive experiences or influences that this stage, if not actually properly taken care of, can actually cause an individual or probably even the family and the society? Is there any prolonged consequences?
Yes, I was raised in a very, I would use the word cage, but it's more like guided environment. So there are a lot of things that I was not introduced to. That now, if I hear, like, there are some of my mates that talk about how they had boyfriends in secondary school. That was very foreign to me because of how I was brought up. Now, I can speak for my brothers, for example. They had when they were going through whatever they were going through during puberty, they were not into. They felt what they felt, but they were limited in terms of their access to these things because they were guided more or less. So now, for example, I'm going to use that in the everyday this thing. As a child growing up that has reached puberty, a child left to their own to figure out life on their own will most likely encounter peers with that have similar background where they are left on their own, and they are going to most likely pick up negative attributes like let's say for example substance abuse and smoking and all of that. And this is not to say that peers in that stage they like acceptance. The most important thing is acceptance from their peers. Yes, they want to be accepted by their peers. So anything goes. They want the same hairstyles. They want to dress alike. They want to look alike, depending on the trend. Now that the internet is there, everybody knows the trend. Everybody wants to be in the trend. So this puberty starts at a certain stage and ends at a certain age, but choices do not start and end. The choice you're making today as an adolescent is going to go into your future. Because if you start smoking today, it's by God's grace that you're going to stop that. That's where addiction picks up, taking of alcohol and all of that. And then now when we are talking of sexual preference and the sexuality of a child that is now coming into their sexual organs are maturing, yes, and they want to explore. Normally, a child could be watching television, and you are a child, and you see two people kissing, and you are fine, like maybe it's even irritating you, and you cover your eyes. Nothing, it has no effect on you. But now, as an adolescent, there's something in you that wants to try that thing out. Then imagine as an adolescent, let's say 7, 8, 9, you are introduced into the world of sex because your parents do not guide you. Imagine a 9-year-old starting his sexual journey. When is that going to end? As a boy, as a girl, when is that going to end? So yes, it's an adolescent thing, but it's going to tell way into your future. And if it is not caught by the grace of God, it's going to affect you for the rest of your life.
Now, when you were talking, you made mention of the child actually moving their attention from their parents to their peers in the society.
Yes.
And I strongly believe that these their peers we are talking about are also, most of the time, are also adolescents or people who are going through the same desires and experiences, who are making choices that are not guided like them. So now, them coming together to actually gain, just because you made mention of acceptance too. So unguided people coming together to find acceptance in each other means it's finding acceptance in misguidedness most of the time. Okay, so now does the influence of this whole stuff, because you made mention of addiction and all of that, does it stop at puberty, or it has the ability to extend beyond this period?
I think I mentioned earlier that it doesn't stop at a puberty. Puberty is just an age concept, like a rite of passage. That we've been told that if you check Wikipedia, it starts at a certain age, and then there's a time range for it. But the choices that you make in that window of time doesn't go away. It has long-lasting effects. Now, by long-lasting effects, that doesn't mean that people that have picked up bad habits cannot change eventually. But in the real sense of it, it's a choice that they have made, and it is not going away when adolescence passes and you are now an adult. Of course, people mature, people age out of things. People can age out of their peers based off of what they've done, because you outgrow friends. So yes, people that adolescents too will outgrow some of these things, but it will still tell, and it will still imprint on your overall person.
All right, thank you very much. It's time. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll go further on this discussion. So please stay tuned.
In line with Section 1.5 of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code, which states that any person or group has a right to complain about any broadcast content or conduct of broadcaster, we, by this announcement, appeal to you to feel free to send your complaints about our conduct if you have any. You can lodge such complaints to info@benuetv.be.gov.ng or visit our head office at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makadi, Benue State. Please, to state your problem clearly and kindly specify how you want us to resolve your complaint. Remember to state your name and contact details. Benue Television is poised to serve you well. Benue Television, a new dimension in broadcasting.
Well, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Healthy Minds on Benue Television. And before the break, our guest was doing justice to the topic of the influence of puberty on the mental health of adolescents and youth. Now, I would like to know, what is your suggestion? What do you advise parents to do at this period when their children are experiencing this puberty experience?
Okay, I think I would say that this is something that's been very it's very keen very particular about. I think parents and guardians generally should have more of a guidance role and leadership role than to criticize and parent, because I think parenting evolves. As a parent to a baby, you know what to do. Toddlers, you know what to do. But at this stage, it's more like, I think parenting should evolve to guidance, not criticism, because most of what I experience and I see is criticism. Because parents are not exposed enough, or they are not open enough to talk about sex education to their adolescents. So these young adults grow up not knowing what is going on with them because their parents have not told them anything. And I think that's the first thing I would say. Parents should have sufficient information on adolescents. And as parents, we must have gone through it, like we've been adolescents, and maybe we have forgotten the experience, or some of the experiences are subdued in our subconscious. But I think we should have knowledge about this topic so that we can guide these children. First of all, teach them. We'll teach them so that they will expect, not when they have reached this stage, but way before adolescence, so they can expect. Expect that when they start experiencing these changes, they know that, okay, yeah, this is what was I was given this information, so I know what this is. And then the parents should also be act as people that these young adults can fall back on. Yeah, so you are teaching them, you are guiding them, and then you are also like a shoulder that, more or less, that they can fall back on. Like, this you told me, but I don't understand this. That will limit the extent that they have to go out and get false information from here. So I think the major role of parents should be guidance, yes, as much as possible, and the criticism should be eliminated because it's not necessary at all. Because this is a new experience for them. They are confused, so they should be taught and they should be guided.
So, what is your take on parents who feel or think or are too busy for their children? What do you suggest?
I think if you are a parent that is too busy for your child, that is a failure in the past. And I'm not going to be too hard on parents to say that you are doing the wrong thing by not having, because most parents have genuine reasons why they are not available. They are busy and they are working so that they can provide for their family with this, that. But I think priority should be placed on your family, and your child is your family. That's your primary responsibility. And as a parent, I'm learning that you should be very, very suspicious of everybody. Like, don't trust someone 100% with your child. That means that you are involved in or with everything your child is involved in. You know everything your child is involved in. You know everything your child, everywhere your child goes to. You know their friends, you know their parents. Because growing up, my parents used to, if I have a friend, my parents used to want to know their parents. I think that was in their way, trying to know what their child was doing or who they were associating with. That is very, very key. Because as a parent, you're supposed to immerse your life into the lives of your child.
All right, thank you. Now, in the society where we are, it's very common to have children who do not actually grow with their biological parents. Sometimes they have foster parents, or they have to go stay with someone who, most of the time and most of the cases, do not actually receive that attention. Now, in such a case and such a period where a child is experiencing this puberty and adolescent stage, what do you suggest, or how do you think the child should go about it, or the society?
I think that responsibility should not be placed on the child, because you can't place any responsibility on a child that doesn't know anything. These people are blank sheets, they don't know anything. So I think the core of the responsibility should be on the adults. And let us say, for example, if a child doesn't have their immediate parents, or their children that are sent to stay with someone else that we don't really care about all of these things. I think like adults around those children, let us say teachers or any responsible adult should take on the role of the parents of that child, because you can't advise children in that situation. They don't know what to do. You can't advise them. So I think that I will still put it to adults, the adults that see this around, that are seeing these children, that they really don't have any parental help or support. They should step up and in as much as they can be the parents to these children.
We have educational institutions, we have religious institutions. Do you have any input, any contribution you would like them to have at the back of their minds, and also to contribute towards curbing this menace?
Yes, it's the same as the parents. You should always act as a secondary parent, more or less, and it's awareness. I think I'll talk about awareness to adults, generally, when they are in environment where they are children. So you're a teacher, just consider yourself a parent. You're a pastor, you're a Sunday school teacher, and all of that. Consider yourself a parent. The once in a week or 5 times in a week that you see these children, it is your role, it's your duty to know what is happening in their life and to guide them. So maybe your role as the secondary parent will not be as immersive as the primary parent of these children, but you also have a responsibility to these children, so that in areas where their parents have their gaps, you fill up the gap, and in areas where they are left open, you cover it up. So adults in institutions like schools and churches, that is your role.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and being part of this program. We really appreciate you. Now, I don't know, in 1 or 2 minutes, can you actually give us a wrap up, your last message to our viewer out there?
Mental health and adolescence and puberty adolescence is a far-reaching effect that tells throughout an individual's life, because the information that they pick and the lifestyle that they imbibe is what is going to carry them most of their life. So instead of focusing on dealing with issues that these children face later in life when it's already too late, because I see that most adults or parents, they like to handle situations when it's already too late, when the child has grown into this bad behavior or whatever they've picked because they're not attentive earlier. They want to now curb that this thing with shouting, prayers, and beating. It doesn't work. So I think that my advice will still be to parents: please pay attention. It's very important to pay attention to these children at this age, because this is where you can imprint whatever it is that you want to imprint on them, and not when they are adults.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shikan, for coming and being part of this program. I hope that the next time we call your attention, you won't hesitate to be with us. All right, thank you very much. But that is how much we can have on Healthy Minds today. You've heard it all. Mental health is a very, very important part of our overall health. And also, we are made to understand today that youths, adolescents, and puberty are also very crucial moments of our lives that should be taken seriously, as they have the ability to nurture in the long run what the culture and tradition of a society becomes. So therefore, we are asking parents, teachers, and religious institutions to be responsible in this stage. So thank you so much for being a part of this program. Until I come your way next week with another interesting package, I remain Emmanuel Ikwe.